Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live and the crack in the cosmic egg. The crack in the cosmic egg. I have been really working with that metaphor since I started rereading the books by Joseph Chilton Pearce, which began with the crack in the cosmic egg, and then exploring the crack in the cosmic egg, and then several other books after that that continues his study and writings on culture, the great culture, as an egg, and that freedom, liberation, comes when we can crack the egg and we see that light at the end of the tunnel, or we see that light breaking through the darkness of our enculturated mind and ego. And he also points out how the teaching of Jesus was a crack in the cultural egg, in the crack of the egg of law, but then Paul and Pauline Christianity came in and closed the egg and turned and created the Christian egg, the egg under which we've been living for a couple of thousand years. The Christian egg becomes combined with the state egg, but it's all the same egg, whether you're religious or secular. Same egg, same glue that holds it together. So we wanted to talk about what holds this egg together. And I'm going to, come back to, I love this egg here, because here, see that little thing right there? That's where the first peck started. And for me, that happened in 1968. And now we have that, you see. So this tells it all. And yesterday we were talking about what it's like living inside the culture egg. It's getting very violent in here. People are shooting themselves. Mass shootings. More body count. And there's no cause, except people are going crazy in here. People are going nuts. And when people go mad, violence breaks out in random ways. Most time violence that has a motivation like wealth or revenge or something personal, we can incorporate that. We can understand that in culture. But we can't understand, we can't incorporate, we can't get our mind around the violence at Las Vegas, where there's just this rage, this mass killing for no reason. So this kind of like this is why this for me becomes a little hole in the egg, And so we want to, so I've been continuing in these talks exploring this whole idea of what is the egg and what holds it together. And so today I wanted to bring up the title is The Accusation of Sin. What holds this egg together? What keeps us inside of it? And the egg is like the Russian nesting dolls. You have the big one that you can't see, and then you have all the little ones inside of it, which we can see. See, you can't see a culture egg unless you're outside of it. You see, in other words, if we were inside of this egg, we couldn't see it. But now we can see it. Oh, there it is. I'm outside of it, you see. I'm out here. I could see it, you see. But culture, the big one, we can't see it because we're inside of it. So what we do is that we create sub-eggs. And then I can live in one egg and look at the other one and say, there's the egg. And we name it. And then we feel like we can get rid of it. So we can get rid of the culture egg. If I'm outside of it, I can break that sucker. I can get rid of it. I can attack it. I can blow it up. I can shoot it. You see. Because I'm outside of it. But all of that takes place within the big egg. So it's not doing anything. It's just incorporate the violence inside the egg just gets more extreme as everyone's running around trying to break out of the big egg, you see. So all this violence going on in here is basically a misplaced attempt to break out of the big egg. So, and culture's fine with that, because as long as the chicks inside of it are fighting each other, it's intact. Nobody's breaking out. Divide and conquer. So culture, and here again, I don't want to think that culture is like some malevolent, intentional person, a mythic person, you see. It's not. It's like a system. It's like a field. It's impersonal. And we create it by feeding into it unconsciously, blindly, ignorantly. And so we create this matrix, this culture, you see, and try to get out of it by misplacing culture inside the egg. So we never really break out. We have some models of those who broke out, and Jesus is the primary model in the West, Buddha in the East, who broke out of the egg. But what did culture do but immediately incorporate Jesus inside the egg as religion and sealed it up again? So then you can get in religion and say, oh, well, I'm outside of the cultural egg. And I remember my sister-in-law and brother, my direct contact to evangelical religion was their constant hatred and of the secular humanist liberals, the secular humanists, which to them was the culture. So they were in a free, they were like in, we got Jesus in our religion, and we're against the cultural egg of liberalism, humanism, secularism. See, but both of those are inside. That's still inside the egg. You see, because a religion wants to break out of the egg as a group, and you can't get outside of the egg as a group. The religion is still inside the egg. It holds you in. You see, so we're trying to get the idea of how is it possible for you to break out of the egg and be free. And yet at the same time, we have to live in the world. We still have a government and the Republicans and the Democrats and all of that, you see. We still have culture, but can we be free of culture while we live in it? So that requires something different to happen. The breaking out of the egg is an individual act that goes against the stream of culture itself. So when Buddha was getting ready to, Siddhartha was getting ready to sit under the Bodhi tree, and a goat herding girl brought him some milk, and he put the bowl in the river, and he said, if it flows against the stream, I'll become the Buddha. And the bowl flowed up again, went against the stream of the river, and he became the Buddha. So the Buddha is the awakened one, not a person. The Buddha is the awakening through the crack in the egg. So the Buddha and the Jesus are not things, they are a function, an action of breaking through the egg. So it's not like a belief, it's an action. It's like when you get a credit card, a new credit card, and it's got all this power, but you can't use it. You have to call it in and activate the card. So activating the potential, that's a metaphor I use. When you call in and activate your credit card, you are activating the potential of the card. All you got, 700, 17,000, you got all this potential, you see. It's free energy now. Of course, you have to pay for it. But the metaphor of freedom is that it's free energy, and you can use it for whatever you want. If you have freedom, you have free energy. I clean the house, have a family, create a business. But above all, free energy is joyous energy. So one of the signs that you're free from culture is joy and fearlessness. Joy and freedom are the same. So when you're free, there's a joy to it that is not dependent upon culture. You see? So most of us condition our idea of happiness, joy, on conditions. So I'll be happy if I win the lottery. I'll be happy if I get rid of this boss. I'll be happy if I get a new car. I'll be happy if my body gets healthy. You see, all of these conditions on happiness, joy, and freedom, you see, are conditional. That's culture. Culture is conditional. Being outside of, free from culture, is unconditional. You're the unconditioned if you're outside. That means you're creative. Your mind is free from opinions. Your mind is free from beliefs. Your mind is free to go anywhere. Life becomes a constant understanding. You transcend culture, not by getting above it, but by seeing through it. But by going through it, you see. This is why in the non-dual traditions they say, well, the world is an illusion. Well, you can believe that, but that's not getting you anywhere. That's not a belief, although it's enculturated as a belief. So yeah, beliefs are all inside culture. Beliefs are in here. Out here, there's no belief. Beliefs are back there. You leave beliefs back in. When you leave culture, you leave your beliefs behind. A belief is a belief in something known, and everything that's known is inside the egg. This is the unknown. You see, the chick has no idea what it's like out here, but he cracks out. The caterpillar has no idea what a butterfly is, but he goes into the cocoon and gets born again. So even born again, you see. In Christianity, you got to be born again. Well, what does that mean? You get born into a religion, and the religion's inside culture. You're not born again. You're just translating born from one egg to another, you see. Nothing has really happened, except now you believe you're born again. And of course, in order to be born again, you got to have the people who are not born again. And so now you got to convert them and make them born again. So that way then, eventually, if you get everybody to be born again like you, there will only be one egg left. That's you. Everybody will be inside your religion. No more strife. But then the funny thing happens. If everyone is inside your religion like you, well, then there's no you. You can't be, if everybody was born again, there would be no anybody to get born again. So it would all fall apart. The game would be over, you see. And so the egg cannot, the egg itself, you see, cannot destroy itself. The egg is going to, its main imperative is to maintain its shell of culture. So it's always creating subcultures inside who believe they're the one. I'm the one, you see. The one without a second. But that belief that you're the one without a second, truth, you see, requires not truth. Requires the other. Requires the enemy. Requires sin, you see. So let's get into the accusation of sin as that which seals the cultural egg. So I wrote up here, it all kind of like begins with the parent and the child. Now the parent to the child is culture. The parent is the transmitter of the culture in which the parent lives. And the parent then socializes the child so it will not embarrass the parent. I think I mentioned this yesterday. When my mother, who was a Navy wife, and she was invited to the captain's lunch, with the captain's wife and all the Navy wives, the lieutenant's wives and all that, you see, and they all went to the captain's wife was giving a tea, and so she brought me, and I guess I was 4 years old. I was speaking anyway. And so she brings me, and then so the captain's wife says, "Oh, you little cute little son of a gun." And I looked, and I didn't remember this, but she said, "But you're a son of a bitch," I said. So I can just imagine my mother. Something's wrong with you, you see. So this whole accusation of sin, of being wrong, begins in the early childhood enculturation. Something's wrong with you. You're not worthy. You got to measure up. And so this builds a beautiful consumer. It builds this feeling that I'm incomplete, that I need something. This feeling that I'm not worthy, that there's more to come, that I need something. I need a relationship. I need an affair. I need a new car. I need something. I don't know what it is, but I know I need something. And so there's this culture then provides all of the things. It's like a smorgasbord. You see, culture, well, you can have this, 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 this. And the more choices you have, you see, the more freedom you have. But you can choose any of these to fill in this incompleteness, this accusation of sin. See, the sin is a feeling of being incomplete. Something's wrong. I did something. I don't know what it is. I did some sin. I don't know what it is. They say Adam did it, and I got Adam's sin. You see, how do I get rid of Adam's sin? Oh, well, you got to get with Jesus. Where do I get with Jesus? You go to this church. Okay, I'll go to the church and get with get with Jesus, and then I make this, wow, I must be free from sin now because everybody likes me and they're all patting me on the head and telling me how I'm at home now. And so I feel like I've born again. Maybe they dump me in a river. They pour water on me. You see, you're born again. But I'm still inside the egg. I still have fear. And now the fear changes now that I'm inside a religious egg, you see, there's the fear of being kicked out of it. I better, I want to look at Playboy. Ooh-wee, I really want to look at the Playboy, but that's a sin. So I got a conflict now between law and the heart. Now I got a conflict between what I should do and what I feel. My feeling, my heart, my natural desire is in conflict with the legality, the law, you see. And that is what creates the egg. This double bind. The double bind. I keep talking about this a lot. The double bind creates the inability to break out of the egg because the double bind is you lose no matter what. Lose. And if you look at it from this context, Trump sold himself as somebody who was outside of the egg. And I'm going to fix the egg. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to break the egg up. Elect me. I'm an egg breaker. You see, because we've been enculturated to believe that the evil egg is the government. So I'm outside. So if I'm just a country boy out here, I'm outside of the government. The government's the bad egg. If I break up the government, I'll be free. Well, all of that's still inside the egg. Nobody's going anywhere. So there's two other commandments here. We have this in the egg, what holds the egg together, what keeps sealing it up. It's kind of like algae in a pond. You got a green pond. And you go there and you say, I would like to see my face before the algae. I want to see what my face looks like before the algae came. So I make a little space. And I laugh. I look in the, I see myself, and I'm joyous. But then this egg, the shell, the sin, the karma, the inertia, the power of the egg, the algae comes back. As soon as I stop my practice, as soon as I stop meditation, as soon as I think I've arrived, as soon as I think I'm free, the algae comes back. And now it's gone. And now I can't find it again. I can't find the algae because that little crack in the egg in which I saw myself happened to me. I didn't do it. It was like a spontaneous thing. It was like a eureka. It was like a revelation. It was a gift, but I can't make it happen again. So now I'm inside the egg, trying to find the gate to paradise, but it's guarded by these cherubim. And what are the cherubim but culture? Culture protects itself. So anyway, my bell rang, and we're moving on here, but maybe we'll pick this up later. But anyway, we're really looking at a conflict here between the brain and the heart, between intellect, which is culture, and intelligence, which is heart. And culture makes us defer to intellect and the head instead of the heart and intelligence. Because culture says God is outside of you, so you have to obey the God, the Father, who is outside. But the heart says God dwells within you as you. Now, if God dwells within you as you, well, then you are an image of the Creator itself. You are a creator of yourself. There's no sin in that. But here you are the created by God the Father out there, which is also culture. So you can see the conflict here. So thank you for dropping in.